All right, let's talk about something really important today. How do we go from that initial, exciting, fireworks phase of a spiritual path to something deeper? You know, that quiet, steady inner strength that can handle, well, pretty much anything life throws at you. Let's get into it.
So I want to start by asking you this, just for yourself. In your inner life, are you a rocket or are you a candle? Are you that big flash and bang, or are you the quiet, steady light? This idea, this one metaphor, is going to be our guide through this whole thing.
And you can see the difference right here. The rocket, man, that's all that initial excitement. It shoots up, everybody looks, they go ooh and ah, but it's over in a flash. And what's left? Just a puff of smoke. The candle, though, it's totally different. It's quiet, it's steady, it doesn't need all that attention, but it gives light, hour after hour. Spiritual maturity is really just that journey from being the rocket to becoming the candle.
So to make that journey, first we have to kind of look under the hood and understand what's really going on inside. This is where we have to get honest about the difference between real growth and just the ego wanting a big show.
A lot of us have been there, right? This spiritual sugar rush. It's that honeymoon phase where everything feels amazing. Every meditation is like a cosmic journey, and you just feel so full of love. But here's the trap. We start thinking those intense feelings are the same as progress. But they're not. Feelings are like candy. They're a nice treat, but they're not real spiritual nutrition. They come and go like the weather. And this isn't a new idea, by the way. The great teacher Paramahansa Yogananda warned his students about this all the time. He'd say, don't look for the fireworks. He knew that real, deep devotion is a sober thing. It's not about chasing the next emotional high or getting spiritual goosebumps.
And here's the real kicker. The real test starts the day you sit down to practice and you feel absolutely nothing. You feel dry, you're bored, your mind is racing, but you do it anyway. That is the moment the rocket fuel starts to run out and the candle wax begins to burn. It's not a punishment, it's a question. It's like the universe is asking, okay, do you really love this? Or do you just love the way it makes you feel? You know, it's like that old story about the prophet Elijah. He was waiting to hear from God, and first there was this huge wind, then an earthquake, then a fire, just total drama. But God wasn't in any of it. God was in the still, small voice that came after everything got quiet. The ego loves the earthquake. It wants to be seen. It wants to wear its spirituality like a flashy costume. But the soul whispers. It just wants to be kind, not necessarily to be noticed. It knows that to hear a whisper, you got to stop shouting first.
Okay, so that's the inner game. But how does this all play out in the real world? Because, let's be honest, it's pretty easy to feel like a saint when you're all alone on a meditation cushion. The real exam happens when you get up and walk out the door. This is it, right here. This is the final exam. It's not about how long you can sit in lotus position. It's about how you handle it when someone cuts you off in traffic. What happens in that split second, that moment of provocation? That's where you find out how mature you really are.
The psychologist Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, he figured this out. He said that between what happens to you and how you react, there's a little gap, a space. And in that tiny little space is all our freedom, all our power to grow. The immature person, they just react. It's a reflex, right? Snap back, get angry. But maturity is learning how to create that space. It's like hitting a pause button, taking one deep breath, and choosing how to respond instead of just letting your animal brain take over.
And what this all leads to is this incredible sense of acceptance. See, immaturity is always arguing with reality. It shouldn't be raining. He shouldn't have said that. It's like being in a river and thrashing against the current. You just tire yourself out and sink. Maturity is learning how to float. It's relaxing, trusting that the water will hold you. It's just accepting what is without fighting it, and then deciding what to do next.
All right, so that's the theory. It all sounds good, right? But how do we actually do this? Let's get into the practical, day-to-day habits that help us build that quiet, steady flame inside.
The most fundamental shift is this one, moving from being a consumer to being a creator. From a life that's all about, what can I get out of this, to a life that asks, what can I give? And here's the secret sauce. The truly mature person gives without needing a round of applause. If you help someone, but you have to post about it on social media so everyone knows, well, that's not really service, is it? That's a transaction. You're trading a good deed for ego points. The real question is, would you still do it if nobody ever knew?
Man, this quote says it all, doesn't it?
When we hold on to a grudge, the only person we're poisoning is ourselves. The person who hurt you, they've probably moved on. They're not thinking about it. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's not about letting them off the hook. It's about setting yourself free. It's you deciding to finally put down that poison and that heavy weight you've been carrying. It is the ultimate spiritual detox.
And this brings us right back to our candle. The most unglamorous, unsexy, and yet most powerful quality of spiritual maturity is just consistency. It's just showing up. Can you do your practice on a Tuesday morning when you've got a headache and life is chaotic? That simple act of faithfulness, that holy routine, is worth so much more than 1,000 flashy moments of spiritual bliss. That's what builds the container that can actually hold grace.
So, let's just recap the big habits here. The real building blocks. Serve quietly, without needing a trophy. Forgive, not for them, but for you. Show up, especially on the hard days. Create that pause so you can respond instead of just react. And stop arguing with reality. Learn the float. These are the nuts and bolts of a truly mature inner life.
So what's the end game here? Where is all this practice and discipline actually leading? Well, it's about becoming something truly valuable in the world, a beacon of steady strength.
Ultimately, it comes down to this one number, 100%. Spiritual adulthood means taking 100% responsibility for your own inner state. No more blaming. It's not your boss or your partner or the news that's making you angry. It's your reaction to them. The mature soul finally understands the weather outside might be a hurricane, but I am the captain of my own ship. And this is the beautiful result. A mature soul is like a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't race around the ocean trying to save every boat. It doesn't scream and yell, it just does two things. It stands firm and it shines its light. And just by being there, just by being that steady, reliable light, other boats can find their way home. So we're right back where we started, with fire. Think about a fire made of straw. It goes up in a huge, hot, bright flame, and it's gone in a minute. A fire built with big, heavy logs, well, that takes a while to get going. But once it catches, it will burn steady and warm all through the night. Don't chase the fire of straw. Be patient. Build the deep, lasting fire of wood.
And that's the question I really want to leave you with. The world is full of loud rockets and flashy fires of straw. What it really needs, more than ever, are more steady candles, more lighthouses, more fires that burn through the night. So what kind of fire will you choose to build in your own soul?